this is the first page that you would see when you are trying to log in. When you click on the official platform of Kuwait's Ministry of Health, if any of you has not been able to find the right link, you can write to us at info.kuwait@mea.gov.in. We'll be happy to share the right link with you. In fact, this link has also been prominently displayed in our press releases on this subject. So as you can see, on the first page, you would only need in fact, you would only need two specific things to register yourself. You would need your valid civil ID and a functional email ID. So make sure that the email ID that you use is functional and you are able to access, because when you try and register yourself, you will receive a verification code on that particular email address. So it's essential that you have a functional email address. So once you register on this, you would be taken. Okay, the second slide is actually for those who register and are trying to modify. As you can see, can we go back to the previous slide? If you look carefully at the screen, there is a tab which is highlighted in red color. There are two tabs. One says instructions and one on the green strip right at the top, which says click here to modify. This provision is available for those who have registered, but they think they have to modify because, for example, we have received a number of queries from our nationals who have said, I have made a mistake in my registration. How do I modify? Is there an option to modify? Or some of those nationals who have said, I have uploaded only the certificate after my first dose of vaccination. How do I upload my vaccination for the second dose certificate? Can I replace my earlier? So for all these queries and for all these requests, this is the procedure. You have to click here to modify. So when you do that, and if you have already registered, if your civil ID and email combination doesn't match, second slide, this is what you would see. This is what you would encounter. So I once again reiterate, you need to remember the combination that you have used of civil ID and email address, and your email address should be functional. And of course, your civil ID should also be valid. So, yeah. So either for registration or for the modification process, you will receive a verification code on your email address, which you have to enter in this, as you can see in that particular tab there. And then when you click next, you'll move to the next slide. So if you're registering for the first time, you may have to fill many of these details. But if you've already registered, you would see all these tabs all these would be auto-populated. So you will see your civil ID, your passport number. So all these are mandatory fields, as you can see, the ones with asterisks next to it. So you can edit your full name if it is not according to your passport document or your vaccination document. And as you can also see, you need to provide a mobile number, a Kuwait mobile number. That is an essential prerequisite for the registration process and also for any modification thereafter. Right. Now we come to the operative part, wherein you actually upload information about your vaccination. As you can see on this slide, the first drop-down that you see, just beneath the green strip which says vaccination information, there is a drop-down with 3 options. Next slide, please. If you click on the drop-down menu, there are 3 options: first dose, second dose, first and second dose. So essentially, Kuwaiti authorities are saying all those fully vaccinated would be allowed to return to Kuwait. Subject to them meeting other criteria, of course. So when they say fully vaccinated, you can still select first dose provided you have been administered Johnson & Johnson, which is a single dose vaccine. So only in that case, you need to select first dose, and you will only see 1 line appearing there instead of 2 lines on vaccination details. And you can select Johnson & Johnson would appear as one of those options. But in other cases, what we would suggest is you need to click on first and second dose, which is the 3rd option in the drop-down menu as the most appropriate one. Once you do that, you can see 2 rows appearing wherein you need to fill information about your vaccination. The first row says your first dose date. Of course, that you need to select that based on the details on your vaccination certificate. The next tab is about dose manufacturer. If you click on that drop-down menu tab, you would see 4 options: Pfizer, Pfizer-BioNTech, AstraZeneca Oxford, or Covishield, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson. So all those who have been administered Covishield in India need to select AstraZeneca Oxford as an option. So if you're wondering Covishield is not there and you can't fill this form, no, you need to select AstraZeneca Oxford as an option in your case. And then the dose center, wherever it was. If some of you had your first doses in Kuwait and the second dose in India, so you need to enter information appropriately. If you would notice that we had also received a number of queries on dose batch number not being indicated on their vaccination certificates. If you look closely, dose batch number is not a mandatory field. So if you have that information, yes, you need to fill all the available information that you have. If you do not, this is not a mandatory field, so your registration will still be accepted. And then, so similarly for the second dose, date, the manufacturer, dose center, and dose batch number. So essentially, it's only 4 pieces of information that is 4 pieces of information that are being asked here. And then finally, the last portion. No, stay on this slide. So the last portion is where you actually upload your certificate or document proving your vaccination details that you have just filled in. So here, there are 2 things that you need to remember. The file format is PDF. So your vaccination certificate that you have, you need to scan or save it as a PDF document. If you're uploading both first and second dose certificates, it has to be a single file. So you have to merge that file. And the size of the file should not exceed 500 KB. So there are options of compressing the file. So if you do not know how to do it, you may need to seek necessary technical assistance. But this is without which the system will not accept your certificate if it's in another format or if the size of the chosen file is more than 500 KB and you cannot upload more than 1 file. So these are the conditions. And then finally, you click on the declaration and then you submit.